Procrastinate productively. What? This is Paul Chandy from Tri-T, coaching your children to succeed in school and enabling you to succeed in the school of life. Procrastinate productively. What an oxymoron. And I looked at this and I thought, yes, there is a measure of truth in this. I remember when I was starting my first year of teaching, and anyone will testify that the hardest years of teaching in your career is when you do your teacher training and your first year of teaching. Because, in my view, 1 year of teacher training doesn't properly prepare you for when you go into schools, because it's only 1 year. I think you would need at least 2 years to be properly prepared for when you enter the jungle of schools. To be fully equipped, knowledge-wise, technique-wise, behavior management-wise, and getting used to all the systems. In other words, you are thrown in at a very, very deep end. And in the teacher training year, and in the teacher training year, and in the first year of teaching, you literally don't have a life. You're working endless hours. Now, I remember I was working endless hours, probably from 8 in the morning to 8 at night, and long hours on the weekend. That partly could have been due to I was working hard but not working smart. But even if I had all the productive techniques that I had today, it would be more than my present workload. So, why do I say procrastinate productively? Well, in my teacher training, as I said, I'd be working from 8 to 8. And my brain would be probably getting tired around, actually about 5. It'd be starting to slow down after about 3. But I would still maybe take 10-minute breaks here and there, but I'd still be ambling along, trying to get all the work done and all the lessons planned for next day, and the marking, and the tidying of the classroom, and the organisation, and the administration, and the detentions. There seemed to be a huge backlog by the time it came to the evening, and it spilled into the weekends. However, what I did find was that I would sometimes wander down to the staff room, and on occasion, probably around 5 o'clock, there'd be other members of staff hanging around. And if I could get into exciting intellectual conversations or just interesting conversations, I'd look at my watch and sometimes an hour had gone, because teachers are pretty interesting people. They gather knowledge, and I'd be so worried. I'd be so frantic that I had lost an hour. I'd feel guilty. But when I would return to my work, I'd be working at double the rate. Now, I then realized the importance of having a good break. Now, what I used to term as a good break would be a lie-in on a weekend, or a sleep in the afternoon, a long sleep, or, for example, just sitting there and just not doing much. However, these days I procrastinate productively. I go to the gym, and I was lucky that when I worked again long hours in a previous job, in a teaching job, there was a gym on premises. So at the end of the day, when lessons finished about 3, I'd be in the gym at about 4 o'clock. I'd tidy up my classroom, do a bit of admin, and then go to the gym about 4, because really, when you've just had a long day of teaching, your mind is in a good place to do more. So I'd go to the gym about 4, and then I'd return back to work and do maybe another hour or 2. So I do that maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Another habit is after a long school day, I'd read an interesting book, not a book that's too heavy on the head. So one of my favorite books is Paul Coelho, The Alchemist. That is those kind of books. I'd even read books related to teaching. On a Friday, I'd read their Times Educational Supplement. Something light, but something informative. That would relax my mind. Or I'd read it in, I'd read some materials in the lunch breaks, or a little bit, even if it was 10 minutes or 5 minutes. So little gaps of time here or there. Now I'm doing kind of freelance work and managing a business and looking at further business interests, as well as doing supply teaching. And I do have busy days, but I don't feel it's different from teaching permanently. I don't feel the intensity that I had when I was teaching permanently. And I do have more bandwidth in my head to be able to work in the evenings or on the weekends, or to do videos like this. And I feel less fatigued, and it's less of a chore to do work outside my regular job as a supply teacher. Because as a permanent teacher, and those are teachers that all know, your work goes on into the evenings and weekends. It's like intense periods of work followed by the holidays. Now, even in this kind of good state that I'm in, this good position that I'm in, where I'm doing a lot of work but not feeling strained, at times I feel a little bit of negativity, or I say to myself, I can't be bothered to work. I can't be bothered to do anything. It all happens sometimes. And the thought of getting back to work and working on my videos, working on my social media, working on my projects, it also feels not right. And I could go on feeling like that and thinking about that and procrastinate. Or I could go on trying to get some work done in these areas and say, yes, get it done. One technique I do is at least get one task done today, do one video, hence I'm doing this video. But the other thing I do, procrastinate, getting back to procrastinating productively, what I'll do is, for example, I will cook a delicious meal. There'll be some recipe that had been forming in my head, and I'll go and try it out, and I'll experiment. I'll go for a walk, like as I've mentioned before. I go to the gym. I'll read a book. I'm currently reading a biography on Muhammad Ali, and I always have my materials near me. So the books that I'm reading, if I'm going to school, I will have a book on leisure reading in my bag, or I'll have it on my table near me. So it can be a quick access, 5 to 10 minutes. I'll play with the child until I'm feeling positive and in a better state, and then I'll return to work. But work is also fun. I'll do something different. I'll exercise my creativity, if you like, in play with my son, in reading interesting books and thinking about how I can apply it in my life, by hobbies such as going to the gym, or going to cook, or writing and journaling is one of my favorites as well. Now, you might say that's common sense. That's about having hobbies. I agree. And it's also about keeping your hobbies running alongside your regular work and feeding those as well. If you like, a hobby-work balance. If you work, some people can do it. If you work non-stop for like 3 months, there are some people who can do that, and I admire that. Well, for me, I just get so bored of what I'm doing. I'd get so frustrated and so annoyed. I need sometimes time for my mind just to let go, have a bit of freedom to do a variety of other things. And so that when I come back to my work, I feel more positive, I'm more refreshed, and filled with bright new ideas, eager to go, and enthusiasm. So, to reiterate and to review, procrastinate productively. That doesn't mean by being lazy. Still be productive. Cook some wonderful recipe, work on your hobby, whether it be drawing or art, writing, reading, go to the gym, go for a walk, spend time with your loved ones, do that productively. I'm not just talking about watching TV the whole time. Play a game with them, do a puzzle, go for an adventure outing. And when you feel back in state, when you feel like working again, when you feel your mind is relaxed, then come back and work, and you will notice you'll come back with more of a vigor. So at this present stage, to be productive, I'm experimenting with actually having this kind of, I'm going to experiment with every Sunday, not doing any works whatsoever, not even housework, keeping housework to the minimum, and just to reflect, journal, work on other side fun things, personal development, read. And then I'm now getting into the habit where 1 hour in the morning is completely for me, for my 10 habits aside from work. And 1 hour in the evening is, I call it wind up. Wind up in the morning, 10 habits that I follow. I'll talk more about that in another post. And 10 habits at night that I follow. Rather than being on that work treadmill where you're working all the time, trying to get in every hour, every minute, trying to, as soon as possible, launch a certain business or a certain project. No, I'm going to try and stick strictly to this, no matter how busy I get, no matter what opportunities I come along, to have downtime for myself. 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, and the Sabbath Sunday, keeping the Sunday completely free, just for leisure time to spend with my family and do things that I really enjoy, my hobbies. This is Paul Chandy from Try T, coaching your children to succeed in school and enabling you to succeed in the school of life.